everybody, I have an exciting announcement. My new album, Just My Guitars Volume 2, is now available for download. I cover old and newer rock songs using only guitars and only the guitars I own. You can download individual songs or the whole album from Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, and a few others that I can't think of at the moment. Links to those are in the description, so go check it out. And most of all, enjoy. This album has even more than Volume 1, so feel free to check them both out. And now, on to the video. Hi, I'm Irving. You have just entered Cartertopia. Diana is driving down an empty road that looks an awful lot like the same empty road she's driven down half a dozen times before when she realizes she has company. He shows off a little for her, then goes on ahead out of sight. Briefly, the way he was carrying on, there was a better than average chance that was going to happen. Diana rushes to check on him.
Sorry. My bike ran out of gas. It won't take me where I have to go. But your car will.
Diana's so furious, I'm not sure she even noticed the gun. He starts away, then goes to turn around. While he's distracted, Diana does her thing. Now about Miss Prince's car. That right there is why seatbelts became mandatory, dude. As she's checking him over, she hears a siren approaching.
What happened to him?
Well, he hit his head, knocked himself out.
Mm-hmm. This your car?
Yes, sir.
Do you know he was packing this?
It looked a lot bigger when it was pointing at me.
He insists that Diana has to come back to a nearby town and file a report about all this. He's not a real sheriff. No trained lawman would do that with a loaded pistol. Too much chance of shooting your best friend off.
I don't think I've seen you around these parts before, Miss...
Prince, Diana Prince. I was on my way to meet a friend when he hijacked my car.
This friend you say you were going to meet?
Why is it any of his business?
Well, he's at the Red Mountain Army Missile Range about 20 miles from here, and I'm already late, Sheriff.
Show him your government ID, Diana. Pull rank on him. You do not have to submit to this podunk fake sheriff. Against her better judgment, never a good thing for her to do, she follows him to the dirt street town of Burrogon. It looks like a throwback to an old Hollywood Western.
Did you catch up with that guy on the motorcycle yet?
Bringing him in now. And there's some girl he tried to get a car away from. Bringing her in, too. So tell everybody to get into their song and dance. Over and out.
The Thick Plottins. He's not the only phony in town. What is this? And why is he so determined to keep Diana from her appointment? As I said, an old Hollywood Western set. Pay special attention to the dog. He's actually one of the guest stars, even though he's not credited.
Better take the car over to Ernie's and gas up. It's the last gas station 100 miles.
Okay, thanks, Sheriff.
I'm not sure I'd trust any recommendation of his at the moment, but she takes the car to Ernie anyway. While she's doing that, the sheriff and his deputy Luther gather up the unconscious biker and toss him in a cell. Don't see about medical attention, don't check to make sure he's not dying or something, just toss him in there and see what happens.
Mac McDonald.
Usually when somebody with a last name like McDonald is called Mac, it's a nickname based on his last name. You don't normally find a nickname on a driver's license. If this guy's parents really did name him Mac McDonald, they should have been indicted for child abuse.
He's coming around.
Oh, swell. That's all we need is for him to start shooting off his mouth while I'm getting a statement from that girl.
You want I should arrange a terminal accident for him?
No. Not unless we have to. No, we'll just keep him on ice here. It's that girl that's got me worried.
Why? She has no idea who you are or what you're about. Take the statement from her and send her on her way. You're making things worse for yourself by acting so suspicious.
Oh, dog, what is the matter with you? Will you go on home?
Now I know I don't like him, he's mean to dogs. And we'll discover as we go along that best we can tell, that dog doesn't have a home to go to. He seems to belong to the whole town.
Oh, Luther, take a truck out to the highway and pick up his cycle. I don't want it raising any questions out there.
Yes, sir, Sheriff.
Something strike you funny, Luther?
No, I was just thinking, you sure do sound official.
Well, we better all sound like what we're supposed to be, and, well, we got a stranger in town.
The only reason she's in town is because you brought her there against her will. If you don't like her being there, take her statement and send her on her way. Better yet, tell her you don't need a statement after all and send her on her way. She knows nothing except you're a Roscoe P. Coltrane wannabe, and she couldn't care less about that as long as she can get far away from you. If he's the guy in charge, he's not very good at this. As they both leave, we learn that Mac McDonald is really awake and was just waiting for them to go so he can leave too. I get the feeling he's been in this cell before. Behind those bricks there's rope, some tools, everything he needs to finish escaping without the sheriff realizing it. Good thing everybody's acting so normal. Nothing suspicious here. Nope, nope, nope. And they don't even realize she's a government agent because she hasn't told anybody yet.
I can take that statement from you now, miss.
Good.
We can do it over coffee here if it's all the same to you.
Just so I can be on my way as soon as possible, Sheriff.
Why, we wouldn't want to keep you around here any longer than we have to.
Then why is everybody stalling her so much? Move things along quicker and let her get going and you don't have a problem. The longer you keep her here, the more likely it is that you will have a problem. And what the was going on in this town anyway? He'll throw the blanket over that to make a dummy, then use the rope to pull the bed back into place once he's through the hole. Outstanding.
Statement of Miss Diana Prince regards armed robbery attempt, parentheses, grand theft auto attempt, parentheses, by suspect Mac McDonald. Oh, sometimes I think the pack rats carried these things off.
He is really stalling. Again, why? If he really has something to hide, he's defeating his own purpose by keeping her here.
You know,
Back again.
Sheriff, it's really getting late, and I
Look,
really have to...
I'm going to ask you one more question, Bob. You said you were going to meet somebody at the test site?
Oh, yeah, but by this time, he probably thinks I got lost.
And again, what business is it of his where she was going or what she intended to do when she got there? It has nothing to do with the carjacking.
Diana was supposed to be there over 2 hours ago, Hal.
Yeah, frankly, I'm worried, Steve. I've called the main gate. There's no sign of her there.
Nothing on the approach road?
No, sir, and the gate guard can see 10 miles of it from his position.
Keep me informed, Al. When she does get there, give her a fast escort. I want her there for the final countdown.
They should know the route she was going to take to get there. Send somebody to retrace it and look for her. But no, apparently the best way to find her is to keep everybody right there on the base where they know she isn't. And by the way, final countdown?
Seating down program trajectory. Program yaw 17 degrees left of 6. 2 degrees right of 6.
Program yaw 17 degrees left of 6, 2 degrees right of 6.
Yes, that guy is controlling the missile's movements using that helmet. He's guiding it with his thoughts, and so far it's working perfectly. Diana is supposed to be there for an actual launch to see how it performs in the air. Hal goes over to talk to the man operating it. He says everything's working perfectly.
Just one thing that worries me.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, there were supposed to be 2 of these. A spare for backup in case one got damaged in transit. Now, when I came over here to uncrate them an hour ago, I found this in one crate. And this in the other one.
A regular issue flight helmet.
Right. So where's my backup control helmet?
This is a project that's so far beyond top secret they don't even have a name for it. One of the key pieces is missing, and he's only just now mentioning it? Oh, by the way, an enemy may have stolen one of the things that controls this super destructive device. Do you suppose we should be concerned?
Better be a foul-up or we're in big trouble.
Better find out in a hurry.
This is losing me fast. Any project director worth his rank would immediately abort the launch and start a full-scale search for the missing helmet. And if I was the project director, that guy who didn't report the missing helmet would be scrubbing toilets for a long, long time. Diana has finally finished with the sheriff and can get out of here.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing to my car?
By golly, this sure is your lucky day, miss. Just on a whim, I checked under your hood, and dogged if your fuel pump wasn't leaking.
Or not. Again, why are they going to such lengths to keep her here? Let her go and she's no threat to you. Keep doing this and she's going to figure out what you're doing. Who's holding the collective brain in this town? She does have an option. Change to Wonder Woman and run to the testing ground. Instead, she stands there stewing when she notices something. Don't give in to the shiny things. Don't give in to the shiny things. Don't give in to the shiny things. She sits in the car to listen to the radio. Or not. She's also a singer, so maybe she could start belting something out at the top of her lungs and tell Ernie she'll let up on his eardrums when her car is done.
You trying to get the news?
Hi. Who are you?
I'm just George.
Just George?
Yes, that's what everybody says when they see me. That's just George.
He has some newspapers, but they're all several weeks old. She quizzes him about cabs, buses, car rentals, anything that could get her out of town. There's nothing.
What about a public telephone? Is there a public telephone somewhere in town?
Flo has one in the front room. She's our telephone operator.
Except Flo went to the store. She won't be back for a while.
I can't even call Hal to send someone to pick me up. That's great. You know, I get the feeling that there's something very strange going on in this town.
I gotta go now.
Hey, wait!
I have to point out again, she wouldn't even be here if the pseudo-sheriff hadn't made her come here. Everybody's acting like she's this big threat to them and they're doing everything possible to cut her off from the outside world. But she wouldn't even know they existed if it hadn't been forced on her. If you ever want to see an exercise in how to do everything wrong, look no further. While she chases after George, Mac is completing his escape.
Nice.
As soon as he goes back in and changes his pants. You can tell he's a good guy, the dog likes him. As quick as he's out, he heads to the window to see what the phony cops are doing.
I'm telling you, Sheriff, we're asking for trouble. We don't get rid of that woman before she gets wise.
Okay, hero, you want to be the one to do it?
Why don't we give the job to Flo?
Not a bad idea.
Luther is also checking Mac's record. He got into some teenage mischief, but they also discovered that his uncle is the real sheriff of Burrowgone. Luther can't resist taunting him about that.
Hey, been looking at your dossier here, Mac. Seems as though you's a regular jailbird, ain't you? Yeah, that's right. You sleep it off. The more you don't see, the longer you stay alive.
I told you the dog was one of the guest stars. He reveals the hole in the wall and the search begins. Diana is still trying to follow George, and the path leads her right to the shiny thing she saw earlier. Those are high-powered dishes, and they're set up to triangulate on something. Satellite TV doesn't exist yet, so there's no legitimate reason for them to be there. If I were her, I'd save time, transform, and go smash them right now. She dawdled too long, and now she has to deal with these clowns. They chase her around a little until she ducks into the trees. It becomes a question of who's toying with whom until she has one of them right where she wants him. I'm not sure she expected to kill him, but stuff happens. Jeep guy decides he's had enough. Oh, come on. Even if he jumped out before the Jeep exploded, the size of that explosion would have been enough to at least mortally wound him. No way he could have walked away from that. George runs off again and disappears. There's nothing to do but head back to town and see Flo. I'd still be inclined to smash those antennas.
Well, I'm shouting myself hoarse. There's so much noise on the line today, that's all. But they're working on it. It'll be cleared up soon. It's Mrs. Merkel. Yes, all right.
Like everybody else in town, the main thing Flo excels at is stalling.
You might do better if you plugged it into the outgoing as opposed to the incoming.
Mercy sakes, you're right. You'd think after 25 years I'd get the hang of this thing.
Why, it's almost like you did it on purpose.
May I?
Well, sure. It's bad enough here in town, but on that trunk line out to the testing grounds, just no way.
Same static I heard on the car radio this morning.
Oh, yes, dearie. The radio runs on that same trunk line.
You know, a person might get the idea someone was jamming communications in and out of Burgon.
You mean commies?
That may get my award for the worst delivered line in the whole series. The sheriff rolls into town and spots Mac.
Hey, you hold it right there.
While the sheriff is examining the gravel, Mac keeps running.
Hey, Mac, you come back here right now.
Say please, Luther. Go after him. Don't just stand there.
As if Barney Fife Sr. and Jr. can catch him. What they don't know is he's headed for Flo's place.
There's one thing about Burgon. It's not much of a town, but we do try to make folks feel welcome.
Yeah, everybody's really gone all out to make her feel welcome. So welcome, they won't let her leave.
I bet you never heard of this town before today, did you, dearie?
Actually, I did. I remember reading an article a while back about colorful Western place names. Burgon, do you know what the name means?
Why, goodness no, child. It's just a name. It doesn't mean anything.
She brings Diana a cup of tea. Diana is already suspicious enough that she doesn't need any more encouragement than that, even if it did come from her carjacker.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm clumsy today for some reason. Everything else has been happening.
No trouble at all. I'll just get a towel to mop that up.
Okay.
There's plenty of water for another cup.
One is plenty, thank you. Flo gets on the horn and reports that she failed.
Lady, listen, I don't know what your name is, but you have to trust me.
Trust you? I can't even see you. And if you are who I think you are, you pulled a gun on me, and if it hadn't been for Wonder Woman, you would have stolen my car.
He also just saved your life by warning you off Flo's tea. He directs her to a freight depot next door.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
He should be glad she was Diana Prince and not that other person. He might have found himself on the ceiling.
Hey, listen, I was just passing through town. I figured I'd come in and say hello to Uncle Bert. I get into town, and nobody is who they're supposed to be, especially Uncle Bert.
So what happened to the real residents of the town?
Free. Weekend in Las Vegas for entire population of Burgon. April 13th, 14th, and 15th. Today's the 14th.
I guess nobody in the whole town thought to ask why or what the catch was or anything like that. They just screamed, "Vegas!" and took off. I've known people like that, but never a whole town. On the other hand, this town seems to have a population of about 6, so maybe it's not that far-fetched. Okay, the bad guys have taken over the town. Why? What are they up to?
The only obvious thing they've done is they've set up a portable generator and they've put it inside the barn at the end of town.
Yes, I have seen that building.
Diana realizes this is the only ally she has in town, so it's time to put cards on the table.
Okay, then it's your turn to trust me. Okay? I think it's part of a plan to steal an Army missile being tested in about an hour from the Red Mountain Missile Range.
He says, okay, what do we do?
Your next move is to do whatever you have to get out of town. Go to Captain Hal Shaver's at the Red Mountain test area and tell him to abort the Athena flight.
What about you? You gonna be okay?
Well, I'm gonna do everything I can to put that generator out of commission.
She still hasn't told him she's a government agent, but I think he's figured that out. He heads off to find his bike and carry out his part of the mission. In Washington, Steve is showing mugshots to someone. These are men who have left the Athena project or been fired and who might be security risks. Whoa, that's George, and they have no idea.
Yeah, Hal, look, I've got 5 prime suspects here. Any one of them could have taken the missing control helmet.
Well, there's not much we can do about it now, Steve, except maybe pray.
Abort the launch. You have a major security breach. Abort the launch. That's standard protocol. Follow it. He and his crew seem like they're going out of their way to do everything wrong. At the barn with the generator, Diana watches the sheriff go in and start talking to Ernie. Time to change her outfit.
Hold it right there, little lady.
But George is the ringleader. She has no way to know that. She assumes he's not with them.
What do you want me to do?
Just let me lock you up somewhere till we're done with what we're doing.
Why lock me up? Why don't I just leave?
Leave?
Yeah. Fly away. Like this.
Linda Carter did most of her own stunts, including hanging from that helicopter early in this season. I do wonder if that's really her in this one. George starts going off on him.
Bad man. Not
George.
even the real sheriff.
George!
At the range, they're putting the finishing touch on the day's stupid.
We are in flight. All systems go.
All systems go. Proceeding now. Program trajectory. Roll maneuver number 1. Proceeding as programmed. First program systems A-OK.
So far, so good. Nobody seems to be thinking about the missing control helmet.
First. Now bring it back and we'll try the B-run.
He closes his eyes and tells the missile to come back. It doesn't.
What are you doing?
It's getting away from me.
Rocket now in unprogrammed yaw to right. Unprogrammed yaw completed 32 degrees minimal trajectory. Missile now violating test range facility.
They're thinking about that other helmet now. Tell me you have a destruct button for that thing.
I'm picking up a transmission beamed our way.
Is it capable of interfering with ours?
Yes, sir, it is.
If they do, nobody has any plans to use it. Matt comes barreling into a top-secret test facility on his motorcycle at high speed, and not a single MP so much as draws his weapon. He finds Hal Shaver.
Who are you?
Are you Shaver?
Yeah, what do you want?
I have a message for you from a Diana Prince to abort an Athena flight. Oh, tell me I'm too late.
We'll see about that. All right, everybody, let's go!
Go where? What are they doing? Meanwhile, George has the other helmet, surprise, surprise, and he's bringing the missile to Borogon.
Sir! Sir, the missile's landed 30 miles south of here. Right. We'll see how fast we can travel 30 miles.
Let's see, if a Jeep leaves the range to go 30 miles and a missile leaves the town to go 30 miles the other, I could never do those.
There it is, I see it!
He didn't realize that the guy operating the other helmet had already armed the warhead. The town was never rebuilt.
It works. Don't you have that other important item, Sheriff?
Sure thing. Got it all ready over in the sheriff's office.
Don't you think it calls for a little celebration?
Yes, sir.
That other little thing is a case of champagne. Everyone heads off to the sheriff's office party. Wonder Woman is staked out in chains in one of the cells.
Aren't you going to have a drink? This stuff packs an awful wallop.
He didn't. Did he? Of course he did.
More of a wallop than you think, Sheriff.
Boy, you.
He didn't poison them, he just drugged them long enough for him to get away with the missile and keep the payoff for himself. As he says, he's not the sharing kind. They were going to sell it to a foreign government for $1 million. He says, that's nothing.
As soon as I build a few more of these helmets, I'll hold the whole country for ransom. The military, the airlines, they'll all have to pay if they want their planes to fly unmolested.
You have exactly one missile. I assume you plan to build more of those too, otherwise you just have a bunch of helmets all trying to control the same missile. The poor thing will get all confused. He really thought those could hold her. The cell door offers an equally weak challenge, and she starts after him.
Follow me.
It's a good thing it's on strings, because if it had to try to fly slow enough to stay behind that bike, it'd crash. Wonder Woman can hear the missile, and there's another motorbike in the back of that pickup. Oh, come on! First we had the wetsuit, now leathers and a helmet. Why? Why couldn't she grab a helmet from the pickup or something? Why do we have to pull these specialized outfits out of our butts? This episode was doing badly, but I think that's the final straw for me. Remember how she got the Wonder Woman outfit? Her mother gave it to her. Who gave her this stuff? Where does she keep it? How did Hippolyta or anybody else know she'd need a motorcycle outfit? Or does she just think it and the outfit becomes whatever she needs? We get no explanation. She hops on the bike and off she goes. We get a really good motorcycle chase across country, down roads of various grades. It's well done and exciting. At the same time, we keep cutting to a military convoy heading for Burrogon and the signal from the missile.
There he is now.
You had to know we were heading for that. George decides to send the missile after her. That was certainly effective. Now he has no way to go back and retrieve it, so he's got a fancy helmet that controls nothing. This chase goes on for a long time, and the terrain is varied enough, the gap between them changes enough that it doesn't get boring. It's one of the better done chase scenes that I've seen in recent memory. Well, maybe except for that. When he stopped like that, why did she stop? Keep going, get in front of him, cut him off, catch him. Instead, she sat there and looked at him until he took off again. I don't get it. George finally finds himself at what appears to be a dead end. So, of course, he wants to play chicken. If you do crash into each other, Wonder Woman can survive it. You can't. I'm not sure why he popped a wheelie there, but however it happened, Wonder Woman wins. He makes a half-hearted attempt to get away on foot, as if that'll work.
It was all perfect. Everything planned, step by step, and you had to show up.
Well, there are some things you just can't count on. Come on, George.
The dog told the soldiers everything they needed to know. Steve gave him a medal the following week.
All right, let's go. Load him up.
genius, huh?
Get him aboard.
Sheriff, you were the one who brought Diana Prince to town. If you hadn't dragged her into it, his plan would have worked. She reports to Steve, then goes to finally chat with her friend Hal.
You know, I should have known that these people weren't the real residents of Burgon when, old Flo gave it away. She didn't know what the name meant.
Burgon? What does it mean?
She's gonna make Mac tell the story.
The story goes that there was this old prospector, and he came into town, and he met these Indians.
Yeah.
And he taught them how to play poker. Except he taught them so well that he lost everything he owned, except for his mule. So he takes his mule and he puts it in the last pot.
And?
That's what Burgon means. This is the town that he lost his,
Ass. You should have been able to say he lost his ass in 1978. But I wouldn't hear that word used in a TV show until about 5 or so years later during an episode of Cagney and Lacey. For now, they kind of stepped around it.
jackass in,
As dance steps go, that wasn't bad. I can't believe somebody thought this was the one to end the season on. We don't have any real chronology in these episodes, so we could have put them in any order. If we had to air this one at all, don't make it the last thing we see before reruns. If I was going to give it a title, I'd call it A Cavalcade of Stupid. Everybody in this is an idiot. The pilot is an idiot who didn't report a missing piece of essential equipment. Hal is an idiot who didn't abort the launch as quick as he saw there was a security breach. The sheriff is an idiot who couldn't leave well enough alone and had to drag a strange woman back to the phony town and get her involved in all this stuff, and she brought the whole operation down. George/Dr. Waverly, as his real name turned out to be, is an idiot who only drugged his cohorts instead of killing them, because I suspect they're going to have all kinds of fun with him in prison. Steve is an idiot for not sending search parties to find Diana the instant they realized she was missing. Diana admitted she was an idiot for not catching Flo's blunder. Mac is an idiot for thinking he can burst into a secret military facility on his motorbike, and the MPs are idiots for letting him do just that. I think that's everybody. If I missed anyone, come up with your own reason why they're an idiot. Sad to say, this isn't the kind of episode that makes one look forward to the next season. It was so badly done and there are so many glaring errors it's more likely to make one look forward to changing the channel. Even so, we had enough good ones to warrant a third season. Despite the hiccups, Wonder Woman became a household name and everybody knew the theme song. Merchandising was going well, so it was time to take the summer off, regroup, and work toward even better things in the fall. I'm Irving, and we'll find out if they succeeded in a few weeks when we return to Cartertopia for Season 3.
You mean commies?